The following is a Podbeard production.
EST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, opinions, and more. This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We are rolling out of you here today on episode 260 of The Hodder Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I hope that you guys are ready for yet another fun-filled episode here today on the podcast. We are gonna have ourselves a little Ask Hodder Anything, a little Q&A here today on the Hodder Show. I actually just got back from my little once a year excursion up north to no cell phone reception, sitting on a lake drinking Moosehead Light all weekend. And it was fantastic. But with that, I have some really kick-ass interviews coming up. I'm really excited about that. We got some cool showcases coming up and some really exciting stuff. But because of the vacation, I wasn't able to get things lined up to have a fresh interview or anything for this week. However, I wanted to make sure I had something fresh for you guys here today. As I'm actually recording this is how last minute things are here today. It's literally 12:06 a.m. on Thursday. I'm currently recording. So if that doesn't prove my dedication to trying to get fresh content out for you guys, I don't know what will. This is definitely the closest I've recorded to Thursday in forever. I don't think it's been cutting it this close in a very long time. But that's cool. It's fun. It's kind of fun doing this. There's a little bit of pressure. I don't know. I like that. I just got off work and I'm like, holy crap, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. But it's like, nah, man, we got to get this damn podcast out, son. Don't want to let you guys down. We'll make sure we have some fresh content, especially after taking the last week off. I, of course, want to take a quick second before we go any further, though, to thank everybody for their support on the last episode of the podcast, in which, of course, I spoke with Tyler Boone. That was a lot of fun, man. Tyler was a fantastic guest, great guy. Be sure to check him out. His music video for Getting High was actually released this week as you guys are hearing this, not 2 weeks ago, which we thought on the episode. He said it was going to be out when the episode dropped, I think. But regardless, it's out now. It's a really fun video, the 8-bit kind of video game type thing where he levels up on bourbon and stuff. It's really, really fun. So go check it out. Big shouts again to Tyler Boone. Thank you, my dude, for coming on and being such a fun interview and for the support. It really means the world to me. Thank you very, very much. He's someone who I think you'll see him on the Hodder Show again in the future, because I think that I would like to think that he had fun. He told me he had fun. So that's the main thing, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And today, as I mentioned here, we're going to do a little Ask Hodder Anything. And what I do on these episodes, sometimes they're a little shorter. This is probably going to be a pretty short one here today. But I got some really, really fun questions. So I wanted to, again, even if it's a kind of a quick episode, I wanted to have something out for you guys. And we got some really fun questions. Now, I screened most of them. But to be honest, anytime someone asks a question, I just copy and paste it in my notes, and then I basically try to not read too much of it. I try to just kind of piece through it so I can be kind of, I guess, give you guys as much of a live reaction as I can when I see it. So some of these questions I might have to kind of fumble my way through. There's one question in particular that's very long, so we're gonna dive into it here, and this is gonna be fun, man. I always enjoy these. Let me just pull out the old phone-ski here. So, where are we going? So we're going to start off with a question from my boy Justin, who asks, what did you like most of the weekend, meaning the cottage trip? And I think this is very fitting because it's so fresh on my mind, because literally it's been 48-ish hours, maybe. No, 72, no. It's been 4 days. However many hours is 4 days? I don't know, 80. I don't remember. Whatever. Regardless, it's been a few days now that I've been home, but I'm still kind of in cottage mode. It's kind of funny. I was saying earlier today to my boy Cazo Jones, shout outs to him. I was saying to him earlier, I'm like, man, I'm still like I jokingly said to him, I think I'm still drunk. Because I'm still like, I still feel like I'm sitting in a lake drinking beer. I have this weird, like, I still am in like vacation mode. And I have a feeling after doing this podcast, I'm going to kind of feel like I'm grounded again. Because I think just, I hadn't done a recording in a couple weeks. So I honestly think that has something to do with it. But Justin would like to know what my favorite part of the weekend was. What did I like most about the weekend? So if those of you who were not familiar, which would be most of my listeners, I go on this once a year cottage trip with like some of my closest friends. When I say that, I mean like, a lot of Hodder Show alumni. It's actually Garrett, my buddy Garrett. It's his cottage that we go to. Well, his family's cottage, obviously. So that's a lot of fun. Obviously, I've known Garrett since I was 3. We've talked about that tons of times here on the podcast, mainly way back in the day on the podcast. But so it's always fun. Brandon Bowden, voiceover guy for the Hodder Show. He's always there. Mr. Ryan Wood, who is, of course, been a previous guest here on the Hodder Show. We haven't heard from Ryan on the Hodder Show in a long time, though. Same with Brandon and same with Garrett. So maybe we need to fix that sometime soon here. But, of course, Ryan is also my my co-host on Mikes and Beers, my other podcast I do. And, of course, Sam, who is also my co-host on Mikes and Beers. She's always there. All of us been friends for years. Of course, Megan. I'm drawing a blank on a bunch of people right now. But a lot of my closest friends, obviously, goes without saying, my wonderful, beautiful fiance. Sam's there as well. So, but, like my boy Nathan, who is... Again, I've known him since we were like 5. So it's a lot of my like really close friends. We're all in a really close-knit group. And it's just a good time. It's a good time, good friends. And that's just really what it's all about. We just hang out. We all like cook different meals on different days. Like someone will do breakfast the one day. Someone else do lunch. Someone else do dinner. So it's good. We eat good. We just drink, have a good time, hang out in the water. It's beautiful. Way, way up north. For those of you who are familiar with Ontario, it's up in North Bay. But it's like even further north. It's like half an hour north of North Bay, way out in the boonies where there's no cell reception. So it's fantastic. It's a great way to unwind. I literally, the only time I look at my phone when I'm there is if either I need it for light or I'm going to the bathroom. Little TMI, bro. Little TMI. But this past time, unfortunately, there was a few of our friends that weren't able to go. Due to multiple different things. So we added a couple of new people that came up, and that was really fun. Shout outs to Emily, Brandon, and Matt for being, awesome people to come up with us there. I got to meet Matt and Brandon for the first time. Emily, of course, is my adopted daughter, so of course I've met her before. But it was cool, and to finally get to the fucking question that Justin asked, which was what was my favorite part of the weekend. We were playing my boy Nathan Breeze, of course, of the Nuke Duo, who you will hear on the Hodder Show at some point. I think that would be really, really fun to get him on here, to see him in this kind of an element doing an interview, because I just think he'd be really fun at it. And he's like the best musician I know, definitely top 5, I would say, for sure. Fantastic musician. He had his heart set and really wanted to do a Tragically Hip tribute, Gord Downie tribute. And he talked about it all weekend. And he was really excited about it. And I was like, man, I brought my guitar. So myself, Brandon, and Nathan all had our guitars. Garrett played the cooler because he doesn't have a cajon or anything. He's the drummer. And of course, Ryan would. Normally he helps sing as well. Unfortunately, Ryan couldn't come this year. So Nathan was like, I really need you to, he said to me, I really need you to like play too. Like, it's not going to work if it's just me, Brandon, and Gary. Like, I need that third guitar or second guitar, the rhythm guitar, you know what I mean? Because like Brandon sings some songs and like he won't be able to sing and play some songs. Like, I really need you. And I'm like, okay. I said, man, I don't know how to play any Tragically Hip songs. I know how to play Wheat Kings, and that's it. Like, I'm not a humongous Tragically Hip fan. Like, I do, obviously mad, humongous respect for Gord Downie. The guy was a freaking Canadian icon in music, and there's no denying the influence that he had on Canadian music and music all over the world. The Tragically Hip are definitely one of Canada's best bands that ever, not just in the last 20 years or whatever. Like, as far as all-time Canadian bands, they got to be at least top 5. Even for someone like me, I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of them, but again, huge respect, mad respect. He had a great set list. We played all the classics. Played Nautical Disaster, which is my favorite Tragically Hip song. But it really meant a lot to Nathan. He really wanted to do this. I said, all right, man, I'll do my best. And, well, let's just say it was actually Sam and I's dinner that night. We had steak, potatoes, and asparagus. It was fan-fucking-tastic, if I do say so myself. Nathan actually helped me with the grilling, so thanks for that, buddy. And after dinner, Nathan and I did a few shots of Sambuca. And then when he wasn't looking, I did a couple extra shots of Sambuca. Sorry, buddy. That's how I do. Then I had myself a few Moosehead Lights, and let's just say I was feeling pretty good. So we sit down to start playing, and, my dumb ass I'm just BSing my way through songs. And to my left was, so that's Brandon Hibbs, not Bowden. Bowden was on the other end, holding it down. We struck up a little bit of a bromance over the weekend. I never met the guy before, but we just, we're drinking buddies now. We had a good time. And we just, for whatever reason, I'm sitting there and like I'm trying so hard. Nathan's like yelling out the chords and he's like teaching me the songs before we start playing them. And like I got through a lot of them. I was impressed with myself, but I couldn't do it. I was on a good day. Even if I was sober, I would have still had trouble with it. But I kind of figured out that, okay, if I just at least, when he does a big chord change or a key change, so long as I'm in time with that, it's okay. I can BS my way through it. So as I'm playing, I'm like basically talking shit about myself to Brandon, who was just dying laughing. And it got to the point where it was so bad, poor Nathan started getting a little frustrated with me because like he's relying on me to play these parts, and I'm like almost falling over. I'm laughing so hard while trying to focus on playing. And there was the one point, this is like probably my favorite moment of the whole fucking weekend. At least definitely one of them. One of the top 2. And I'm sitting there and I said to him, I said, you just turn around. I can't even look at you. Just turn around. And he has his back to me. And I'm literally trying so hard to play. I think we were playing 100th Meridian, I think. And it's like halfway through the song. And I looked over, and right at that moment, he also just happened to turn around, and we both just lost our shit. I literally fell off my chair. It was so bad, but it was just fantastic. And that's probably one of my favorite moments of the whole weekend. The second top favorite moment of the weekend was that first crack of a nice ice cold Moosehead Light in Moose Lake. It was fan-freaking-tastic. So hopefully that elongated answers your question there, Justin. Appreciate you taking the time to ask me a question, sir. Now, next up, I have a question, and this is going to be another really long answer, guys. I apologize. But that's why we're here today, right? The next question I have is from my boy Eaton from Her Majesty the King. I think I just butchered your name again, buddy. I apologize. Eden. Yeah, Eden. Yeah. Did I say it right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right, cool. Moving on. Who actually also, before I forget, not just of Her Majesty the King, but he's got a brand new project. Hang on, I want to make sure I get this right. I forgot to write down. He's got something new he's working on. Wither Within. They released an instrumental, Maggot Juice, which is kind of a Slipknot inspired thing. Go check that out. It is toit. Very toit. Go ahead and check it out. Wither Within. Wither Within. Go check him out. Eden's a big sport of the Hodder Show, so thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. And the question that he wants to know is, and I quote, What inspired you to get started doing podcasts? So I have talked about this ad nauseum before, so I'll kind of do the quick Cliff Notes version of this. I love talking about this just because I don't know why. I guess I'm just obsessed with talking about this because I love the story behind it. Because as I always say, I have no business doing a podcast. I really don't. I was never in radio. I was never a radio student. I was not someone who... Basically, I always had a part of me. I have this list, right? And I'm probably going to go all over the place with this answer, so I apologize. But I have this list, right? And it is things I want to accomplish in my life. And I'm very fortunate to say that I have more than half of my list completed, which is I'm turning 30 in a year and a bit. And the fact that I already have a lot of that stuff checked off on my list, more than half, I'm really happy with that. Because there's some things that I checked off my list that I didn't think I'd ever be able to check off. And one of the things that I had on my list was work in radio or be on the radio. And that was something that I really wanted. And I was going to go to school for radio broadcasting. And I made the decision not to. And as much as there's a very small part of me that, like, you know, it would be like, oh, I wonder how different my life would be if I went to school for radio. I can guarantee you a couple things. I would not have done well at it because I wanted to be on air. I didn't want to do anything else. I wanted to be on air. Could I have made it on air as radio? I don't think so. Having friends that went for radio broadcasting who tried on air, and as someone who knows people who still to this day are trying to do on air stuff, it's very cutthroat. It's very difficult. And could I have handled the pressure? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But as time went on, I realized what I really wanted to do was just like a talk show. I didn't know what a podcast was at the time, or else I would have said I wanted to do a podcast. So, long story short, I used to work in a music store, Gigs Music, whoop whoop, coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the store closing, very soon actually, in October. And when the store closed, I kind of fell out of love with music for a little bit. I didn't like listening to music. I didn't like playing music because it was such a thing for me where that was a dream I had. I wanted to work in a music store. And I got to do that. I got to check that off on my list. Now I look back on it with just nothing but wonderful, fond memories. At the time, I mean, straight up, I was like pretty depressed about it. Not I was suffering from depression, but I was depressed about it because there was this thing. Music was my outlet. Music was my the thing that I would use to keep myself sane when I was in a dark headspace. Music would be the thing that would help pull me out. And that wasn't there anymore for me at the time. This thing that I was going through, which is, you know, this dream job I have not being there anymore. Through no fault of my own, it was just the business was closing down. It was the end of that business venture. And I was in a really weird place. And I turned to podcasting. Podcasting really helped me get me through that. Listening to podcasts, a ton of podcasts. Specifically, the Josta Show was a big one for me. It's the Hodder Show, Josta Show. Not hard to figure out. So big shout out to David Josta. I owe you a sandwich, bro. But that was a big one for me. And I used to always love talking to people in the store. People would always say, man, like you're such a great storyteller. I'd always ask really fun questions to musicians. And they'd be like, I love talking to you about this stuff. Like, you know, you're a great storyteller. You always ask interesting questions. And like, I wanted an excuse to stay in touch with people. There's people that like, I was like, you know, I don't want to lose touch with some of these bands, some of these kids, you know? So I was like, hey, if I do a music podcast where I interview musicians and stuff like that, I'll have an excuse. That's all I need. Little did I know it would be, you know, almost 5 years of my life being spent, you know, building this and working at it and having fun and just having experiences that I could not even fathom would happen, and really, really cool, fun stuff, and meeting some incredible people along the way. So that was really the reason I started podcasting, was just to keep in touch with people, but also it was a different creative outlet for me. I would sit down and play guitar, and I wouldn't be able to get that creative. I'm a creative person. I need to be able to have that outlet to get things out. And I realized very quickly after I did a couple podcasts, it was always a running joke, like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. I always said I'd write a book. And then it was, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. Just you guys wait. I'll do a podcast. And I told the story a million times. I'll tell it again really, really quickly. My friend Brandon was doing a YouTube channel at the time, like a wrestling YouTube channel. And I was going to start helping him out doing a series of videos, because it was something I really wanted to do, and he really wanted me to do it. And there was this one particular night I was going to come over and film a bunch of stuff. And I was feeling really creative that night. I had a ton of ideas. He had to cancel, unfortunately. Life happens. And I was like, oh man, like I was really bummed out, because I'm like, I'm feeling really creative tonight. And I'm sitting there and I go, man, that's this podcast thing. Yeah, and I thought about it, like, could I actually do a podcast? Could I speak for 20 minutes to an hour about random stuff? Absolutely, I could. I'm doing it right now. So, like, I know I can do it. Do I think it'd be somewhat entertaining? At least somewhat, I think so. You know, there's a bunch of podcasts out there that to this day I think are just horrid garbage. And they're, you know, and this is going to sound really jaded. I'm not meaning it to be like that at all. But there's podcasts that are like, you know, raking in millions of downloads a day. And I think they're fucking horrible. I think the hosts have no personality. They don't care. And it's like, shit, could I do that? Yeah, I could do that. For sure. For sure I could. I love doing this. And that's my opinion. I think they're bad. It's whatever. I didn't mean for that to sound so jaded. But this is what it is, I guess. Anyway, back to my elongated story. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh, this podcast. And I realized I had a microphone, I had a cable, I had a mic stand, and I had this thing that I could hook up to my iPhone at the time. And I GarageBand, obviously. And I was like, I could do this podcast thing. And I said to myself, man, if I did a podcast, I could call it a Hodcast. A Hodcast. Just gonna let that sit there for a second. That's long enough. So, as you can imagine, I laughed myself silly for about 20 minutes because I think I'm so hilarious. My own biggest fan, let's be serious. And I was like, shit, let's do it. So I sat down and recorded about a 20-minute pilot of kind of the basics of what I was going to talk about and things like that nature. Showed it to a few people. They were like, this isn't the worst piece of crap ever. I got some really great feedback from a few people. So it's my boy Nathan Miller, who gave me some really good constructive criticism, which I like to think I follow. I think to the day I still don't really follow what he told me, but I do my best. And what really did it for me with that too was I did 2 episodes on gigs music, telling the story of how I got involved with gigs music and all that. And that was so cathartic for me, man. Oh my God, it was cathartic for me. Just getting it all out there. And I felt like, I can't explain to you guys how much better I felt after I did the gigs music podcast. I did like a 2-part there. And I did a Harder Show rewind on it not that long ago. If you guys want to go check that out. It was, it's fun to see, because that was episode 2 and 3. So that was, 257 episodes ago, something like that. Yeah, 57, 56. No, 57, 58, excuse me. And it's fun to go back and listen to them, because you can hear in my voice a few times how, like, I got emotional a couple times. It was heavy for me to get that out. It was still so fresh, but it was necessary. And since then, it's just, I did a few interviews. Like I had my boy Brandon Hastings on, Outshined, whoop whoop. That was fun. My first real interview with someone that wasn't I had Brandon on for the first time. He was technically my first real interview. But Brandon, he's my best friend. I had Ryan on, same thing. He's a really good friend. Brandon's a really good friend of mine too, don't get me wrong, but it was a little different. And then, I had a few other musicians on I wasn't as close with, so that was cool to get to kind of build with that. And then from there, it's just snowballed into episode 260, which is where we are right now doing this little Q&A thing. And it's cool, man. It's fun. I love it. I love talking about it. I'm going to move on because I'm going to be on this question for another 20 minutes. So I hope that answers your question, Eden. Thank you very, very much. A question from my boy Will from Rolls Royce. He would like to know what my thoughts are on the band Winger and hair metal in general. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea who Winger are. Who the hell are Winger? I honestly don't. This is one of those questions I didn't really screen. What do I think about hair metal? While I'm pulling something together here, hair metal is, I think it has its place in history of music, you know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it holds up. Sorry about that, guys. I just realized I'm leaning on this cable here. I'm trying to plug into my phone. So if you heard a that's why. Apologies. I think hair metal it doesn't hold up. It doesn't keep very well. I think it's like any phase. It's kind of like grunge music. Like people who I love grunge music. I think to this day, I can sit and listen to it and enjoy it. But like even I admit that like it belongs in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like everything, certain genres of music and certain things, they can be. They can overstay their welcome sometimes, maybe, I think is what I'm trying to say here. So hair metal was something that it was great in the 80s, late 70s, I guess, early 80s. But like by the end of the 80s, it was like, holy crap, what else we got? Like, let's move on from the spandex and the big hair, you know. So it was, it was cool. I think, was it Bill Burr has a joke about hair metal, you know. Oh, so there's kids with their music. Back in my day, you wore spandex, you had big hair, and you sang about the devil. Now that was music. But that's all I really got on hair metal. I'm not really a huge fan of it. I never went through a hair metal phase. Obviously, I like, you know, like I do, like I like Twisted Sister. I like Def Leppard. I guess you could technically say they're hair metal. I guess 80s Bon Jovi. I like, you know. Motley Crue, Skid Row, you know, all the classic hair metal bands. But I've never heard Winger before. So, I'm looking up Winger right now on Spotify. I don't care if I get flagged. Here we go, guys. You're going to get my live reaction to Winger. This is the most popular song they have on Spotify. It's called 17. So let's see. This might be really loud. I apologize. I'm going to turn it right down. Oh, yeah. A little bit. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's good shit, man. I like that. I like that. I like Winger. I do know that song. The second I heard the chorus, I'm like, oh, shit, okay. They had some hits, man. They had some hits. Apparently they're still going. They just released, what is this here? Headed for a Heartbreak. I don't want to get flagged anymore, so I'm not going to play anything else. But that's good stuff, man. I like Winger. I'm going to have to look at Winger more because I'm not too familiar with them. But I will look them up. I thank you, Will, for reaching out to me about that because I think I like Winger. I appreciate what it is, and I can appreciate lyrical content to a point. More with me, I connect to music through lyrical content, so like a lot of hair metal is very like, you know, I mean, that song 17. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. She's only 17, come on, So I'm like, it doesn't do the same thing for me as like, the 2000s rock and hard rock and stuff does that I really, really love. And then like not like grunge music and stuff like that. It's different ends of the spectrum. I can appreciate it. I like the music. There's some fantastic melodies in hair metal and some great guitar work and stuff like that, but just was never a humongous fan of it. But I like Winger, so I'm going to have to check out Winger some more. But we're going to take a quick break here. Here are some words from people who help make this show possible. We come back, I'm going to dive into more of your guys' questions. We come back here on this Ask Hodder Anything. Talk to you guys in a minute. Hey you! Yeah, you. Listen to The Hodder Show right now. Are you in a band? Maybe you're a business owner of some kind, a performer, maybe a pro wrestler, an event promoter, an athlete, or maybe you're just an everyday person who needs some photo editing done. You need a great graphic design guy, and have I ever got the hookup for you? My man and close personal friend, Mr. Jason Reese from Jaybird Digital Arts. Whether you need logos, t-shirts, stickers, tickets, business cards, banners, menu, brochures, flyers, posters, Facebook banner videos, door hangers, photo editing and restoration, print ads, lyric video editing, signs, notepads, window clings, letterhead, bookmarks, programs, magnets, greeting cards, calendars, rack cards, invitations, envelopes, pens. Jason will work with you to develop a style that is unique to you and that tells everybody just how special your business, event, or you personally are, and you will stand out from the crowd. On top of the fact that he does offer free delivery between Cobourg, Ontario and Kingston, Ontario, message him today right now for a free quote. That's right, a free quote. Tell him about your idea. You got something outside the box, he will make it happen. With great rates and service, you cannot go wrong. I've used Jason literally for everything over the past 3.5 years, and I cannot say enough good things about the man himself and his work. So contact him today on the web at jaybirddigitalarts.com or on social media under Jaybird Digital Arts. That's Jaybird digitalarts.com. You can also email him at jaybird.digital.arts@gmail.com. And always keep in mind that his business is successful when your business looks good. Hey man, is your beard dry? Got some major itch going on, or maybe you are a sufferer from the dreaded beard dandruff. If this sounds like you, I've got the solution. Make your beard the meanest it's ever been with Mean Beard. Mean Beard is an exceptional beard care line offering the world's meanest beard oil, beard balm, both of which come in 5 different scents. They also offer a one-of-a-kind beard enhancer, Mean Whip. Their products are specially formulated with the richest natural carry oils and the finest ingredients to help you grow a glorious, healthy, and full mean beard. Proudly made in Ohio, USA for the meanest beardsmen. Now, I personally have used these products for over 3 years, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that they are amazing, and it has truly helped my beard so much. Not to mention that the people responsible for this company and behind this company are freaking amazing human beings. Can't say enough great things about them. Check out their beard care products, combs, and swag on the web at meanbeardco.com. That's mean, MEAN, beard, BEARD, co.com. When you go on there and check out, be sure to use my code MB15TJH. That's all uppercase MB15TJH. And you'll save 15% off your order. 15%. What are you waiting for? Go on there right now, and while you're at it, be sure to check out Mean Beard on Instagram, as well as join Mean Beard's community on Facebook. And always remember, folks, it's not just the beard, it's the attitude. All right, we're back here on the Ask Hodder Anything, this Q&A episode here on the Hodder Show. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. And you guys can't see, but I'm now being joined in the studio here by Morty. Say hi, Morty. He's just chilling. He hangs out with me. Morty is our new cat, or our new kitten, I should say. He's a little shitten. He's a shithead, right, buddy? You're a little shithead, but he's sweet. He's a nice guy. We rescued him, actually, because he was outside all night, and he was starving and dehydrated and starving for loving. And he's a sweetheart, and he likes to hang out with me while I podcast, so it's very fun. Obviously, I named him Morty. Come on. So yeah, big shouts to Morty. I'm sure you guys will see him make an appearance randomly on a video episode of the Hodder Show sometime soon, because he literally, like, even like when I was doing that video interview with Tyler there a couple weeks ago, I think he actually did make an appearance, if I'm not mistaken. I think he ran by. It was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, that was my cat, because he literally like jumps all around, and he's crazy. He's a little psychopath, right, buddy? But he has the sweetest little eyes. Oh, I wish you guys could see this right now. He's actually laying literally to my right. I have his pillow here on my desk to the right of me here where my microphone is. And I have this microphone sitting there. And the way he's laying, it looks like he's talking into the microphone. It's fantastic. I think he likes to listen to me talk, which is really fun. Too bad no one else says, "Oh, oh, oh, oh." He's like, "Yo, can you shut the fuck up?" Anyway. You guys having fun? I'm having fun doing this. I don't even care. It's a good time. So the next question that I'm going to dive into here is a cool one, because it has a kind of a quick, funny story. My boy Adam would like to know: Would you ever want to play live music in front of a crowd? Friends don't count. So I have actually. This might come as a surprise to some people, but I've never played a concert before for anybody aside from friends. I have done single song performances. I've done a little bit of teching. I have done some karaoke, but like I was never in a band or anything. Like I didn't do it. Oh, a quote unquote band, like a real band that played shows and stuff, which does surprise a lot of people because of my history. They're like, seriously? But the first time and really only time that I ever actually played in front of people that I didn't know. It's a really fun story. And I think I'm going to upload the picture, one of the pictures. I have it, the still from the video, because I don't think I can download the video. I don't think of it. But the main opening day of Gigs Music back in 2013, was 2012, 2013? 2013. I was just a part-time guy hanging out there. And shouts to Rob and Steve, who are the main people of Gigs Music. Steve, of course, being someone who taught me everything I know about guitars, taking care of them and everything, and was a big influence on me on that. And Rob, of course, teaching me a whole crap load about business and guitars as well, and the music industry and things of that nature. Big shouts to both those guys. Steve, of course, is like literally one of the best guitar players I've ever seen, and just overall musicians. Plays piano like a madman, great singer, full on everything. Someone who I would love to talk to on the show sometime one day. That would be really fun to get to catch up with him. But so at this, he was performing at the opening at Gigs. We had the stage at Gigs, right? So it was a lot of fun, and we had a few people play on the stage. I played on the stage a couple times, always a good time. But he was waiting on a student to come sing with him, and the student was running late, and he wanted to start performing. There was maybe, I want to say, about 20 to 30 people kind of hanging in the store, hanging outside, just kind of hanging around waiting for some music to happen. So he was playing, he wanted to do something with someone. That was kind of the main thing he wanted to do. So I'm standing behind the counter, and without any warning, without telling me, he just calls me up on stage. Now, I am not a confident person when it comes to performing. I'm just not, to this day. I don't think I ever will be. I get stage fright a lot. I get really nervous. I'm not super confident in my abilities of performing, especially singing, because I'm not a singer. And Steve knew this. Steve knew that I would freeze up and all this, but he was like, just suck it up and do it. He knew I was at least okay enough to get through a single song. What he didn't think about, and we laughed about it afterwards, was like my music repertoire was not very big. Like the music that I know at the back of my hand. So when he calls me up, I assume we're going to play like, I don't know, an Alice in Chains song, maybe like an acoustic rendition of like a Metallica song or something. Like I thought maybe we'd do something like that I'd be really familiar with. Then he puts the lyrics for "If I Had $1 Million" by the Bare Naked Ladies in front of me. And I just go, Steve, like, of course everyone knows the song, but I'm like, I don't know this song well enough to sing it. I couldn't tell you how the melody goes. Like, I don't know the song that well. And he's like, no, it's fine. We'll get through it. Then he just starts playing, and I have to start the song. So, first line of the song, I nail it for some reason. Everyone started cheering. I was like, okay, I got this. By the end of it, it was a golf clap. Holy crap, that was a good time. It was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a lot of fun getting to play with Steve. You know, he was a good sport about it because, you know, about halfway through it, he was kind of like, oh, shit, this was a mistake. Because I didn't know the song. I'm singing it like he's singing it the way it's supposed to be sang. I'm singing it my way, which is like very kind of monotone, you know. If I had $1 million, not like that higher registry where it should be. You know, he's like, if I had $1 million, I'm down here like, I'd buy you a K car. Because like, I didn't know the melody. So I'm just trying. I did my best. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was a fun story. That was a good time getting to my first performance. So hopefully that answers that question, Adam. Someone asked me this question the other day. And I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want them to think I took it as an insult because it's not an insult. So I don't want them to think I'm calling them out or anything. It's not that. It was an interesting question and it's a funny story. So I wanted to answer it. So someone asked me, not meaning this at all as an insult. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. And they're probably going to hear this. So again, I state I did not take this as an insult. I know why you were asking. I think it's kind of a fun question. I'm not meaning this as an insult. I'm just genuinely curious. How the hell are you a brand ambassador for Mean Beard? Just meaning like your beard compared to everyone else's. I just don't get it. Like, how did you do this? So what they're referring to is the fact that all the other brand ambassadors and sponsored ambassadors for Mean Beard all have like humongous beards. And then you got my dumbass with my little beard. And basically, elongated story short, I got lucky when Mean Beard was kind of like opening up, so to speak, when they were getting started. I applied to be a brand ambassador just before they launched like the whole line. And from what Joe has told me, basically because they saw I had a podcast, I had a little tiny bit of a social media following. They were like, he seems like a good guy. Let's give him a brand ambassadorship. And the guy had been a repeat customer, so this is a good guy. Let's throw him a brand ambassadorship. And basically, just since then, I've weaseled my way to be a full brand ambassador, and I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at with Mean Beard, and I'm very grateful to be in the family, the Mean Beard family, and it's a fantastic community, and everyone's always been really, really cool with me. Being the short beard guy. So big shouts to the whole Mean team and the whole Mean Beard family. Love y'all. And basically, I just weaseled my way into being a brand ambassador. Let's be serious. That's why. It has nothing to do with anything else. So that's what I told this person. I said, I basically just weaseled my way in. There's no secret. It's not like I had like a pitch or anything. I was like, oh, you should make me a brand ambassador because of this. Oh, it was just like, I did it at the right time. They threw me a bone, and I'm not letting that damn bone go, son. Use my coupon code MBTJH15 or 15TJHMB. No, I'm fucking up my code. Whatever the code was in the ad that you guys just heard a few minutes ago, use that code because I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Because I'm pretty tired. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So hopefully that answers that question for that person. And again, if you're hearing this right now, I did not take it as an insult. Do not worry. I'm laughing. I think it was a fun question. Because I know some people have asked me that before in the past. They're like, yo, like, how is this dude a brand ambassador for this beard company? Like, I don't understand. And I'm just like, weasel my way in, bruh. I'm like a rash that just won't go away. Or not a rash under your beard, because you won't get that with me and beard. Let me be clear on that. Like a rash on like your arm. You're just like, yo, what the fuck is this? This won't go away. Or I'm like a barnacle. on the side of your boat. Whatever what happens, you think you got rid of it, and all of a sudden, back on, homie. My metaphors are shit. Anyway, James Joseph, Chef James, of course, of No Geeks Allowed, would like to know. Oh, this is a good one. This is a fun one. He would like to know if I was going to build my own super band. Who would it be? Who would be in it? What would they do? So I'd pick a vocalist, guitarist, bassist, blah, 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 blah. This is something I've thought about a lot. And let me be clear when I say there's a bunch of different ones that I would love to do. But I think my dream, in my head, I hear it. And that's the weirdest part for me. Mainly the vocals. I hear it. And I'm like, it would work so well together. It's scary. To me. Anyway. And I know for a fact that some of these people have a relationship. So in fantasy world, is it that far-fetched that some of them would work together? Not at all. So to me, I'm like, let's get it going. So I think my number one fantasy band, as far as how it would work, is as followed. On the drums and also vocals, we have Morgan Rose from Seven Nest. It's a no-brainer. Aside from the fact that I love Morgan's drum style, and this is hard for me because I love Shannon Larkin's drum style. Shannon Larkin from Godsmack and Morgan Rose, I love their drum styles equally. The only thing that puts Morgan over the edge for me is his vocals are, he's one of my favorite, metal vocalists as far as his style of his scream, the crow. It's so unique. The second you hear it, it's Morgan. And he's also a great singer too, which I don't think he gets enough credit for. But so I'd have Morgan on drums and vocals. He'd do heavy vocals and harmonies and stuff like that. But man, we got to hear the crow for sure. Bass is hard because there's a lot of bass players I love. For the sake of, again, helping out with some backing vocals, mainly live, I would have Chris Cale from Five Finger Death Punch. I love his bass style, but also he's got a great vocals for backing vocals. For lead guitar, I would have Barry Stock from Theater's Grace. No fucking surprise there. No surprise at all for some people, I'm sure. Going off fucking chords, you're going to have Barry involved. And let me explain why. Yes, Barry's a riff machine. That's a given. But Barry can shred. And not a lot of people know that. He cut his teeth in the 80s, late 80s especially, really playing that shred stuff. That's what he cut his teeth doing. And I would love to hear him just focus on harmonies and leads, just go nuts. I want to hear fucking shredding from Barry. And I think that'd be really fun. Just let loose, not worry about it, just shred away. Because in 3 Days Grace, don't get me wrong, there's some parts where he'll do a little shred, and I'm like, oh god. But I want to hear full tilt, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Barry's got to be involved somehow, because I just, riff wise, harmony guitar wise, he's got to be involved with it. Next up, another no-brainer, I'm sure for a lot of people aren't going to be surprised for me to say this. One of my biggest musical people, love him, is Clint Lowry from Seven Nest, and also from Call Me No One, and also solo. Hello Demons Me Skeletons as well. Clint Lowry doing guitars and vocals. Obviously he'd do clean vocals, but also he has a massive scream on him as well. So that'd be really cool. But I'd mainly want him doing clean vocals and harmonies. And also helping to write and stuff, because I love his writing style. And bringing up the main vocals and lyrics and things of that nature is probably without a doubt my favorite metal vocalist right now. I don't think anyone can touch him, in my opinion. As far as the vastness of his style and his clean vocals, his heavy vocals, I don't think anyone can touch him right now. And that's Ivan Moody from Five Finger Death Punch, man. I think that Five Finger Death Punch get a lot of shit for whatever reason. I don't know why. I love Five Finger Death Punch. Man, the new record, F8, I think it's their best record they've done. I love it. I think Ivan has never sounded better. I would love... I have this chorus idea in my head that I hear, and I can't really put it into words what it is. I can't even really sing it, but I hear a chorus in which Morgan is like, there's like three vocal parts kind of all together. Morgan is screaming. Ivan basically responds with a clean vocal. And then for like the main hook of the chorus, Ivan and Clint kind of harmonize. And it just, to me in my head, it sounds fucking awesome. And I don't know. I can't even explain it. I wish I was a good singer so I could like somehow lay it down. Because to me, I'm like, yo, if I heard that shit on the radio, I would like have to park my car. Because I would like, I have goosebumps thinking. I hear it in my head. And I get like goosebumps. It's really weird. But yeah, that's my fantasy band. For sure. For sure. No questions asked. That's a big one. And like, there's some people like, you know, I would love to see, you know, to pull people out and change around. As far as vocals, you know, it'd be cool to see Sully from Godsmack in there too with that group. You know, maybe pull out, who can I pull out here? Maybe pull out Barry from Mike Mushak from Saint Sonia and Stained, and have Sully do vocals. Leave everyone else the way they are. That'd be a cool thing. There's a lot of vocalists I'd love to hear. Basically, no matter what Clint's involved, because I just think that Clint literally could work with anybody, and he would. I think Barry could too. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's hard, man. It's hard for me because, like, no matter what, for fantasy man for me, Clint Lowry's probably involved in it in some way, shape, or form. Worst case scenario, maybe Barry's doing production. I don't know, but like, Clint's involved. I think Ivan can work with any band, and it wouldn't matter. He would just sound awesome. So I can pull that around and move it around, but that's probably my main one that I think about often. As far as people I would love to hear. As far as one thing that I'd like to say, as far as like, because he said living or dead, that same lineup with Lane Staley, put a fork in me. Out. Done. Picture that for a second. Fantastic. Moving on. James also wants to know, what's a go-to movie that you have to watch when it's on? This is hard for me, man. I'm not a movie guy. I'm not much of a movie guy. If I have to pick one for the sake of the question, it's probably going to be Star Wars of some kind. Any of the Star Wars, basically. If I'm really in the mood to watch a movie, I have nothing else going on. I don't want to play video games. I don't want to podcast. I don't want to play guitar. The house is all cleaned up. Sam's at work. I don't want to watch TV of any kind. Then probably Star Wars. Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, I guess, technically too. More so Star Wars is probably the best answer to that. So hopefully that answers that question, James. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for that because I'm not really much of a movie guy. Sam Hudson would like to know, and I quote, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, and this is interesting, Sam, because if a woodchuck could indeed chuck wood, could a woodchuck then chuck the wood to another woodchuck? So therefore, with basic math, I have to think that a woodchuck could chuck as much wood as the woodchuck would want to chuck to another woodchuck. Probably, say 10. Let's say 10. Go with 10. I like that. I like that answer. Let's say 10. Now, we have a doozy of a question here from Mr. Ryan Woody. He would like to know, and this is a big question. what would you think would do better in terms of success pre-COVID? Let's stress that, pre-COVID. An all-American band festival or a world music festival, any country but the USA, for a 2-day weekend type thing. And then basically, where would you want to hold it? And there's like, he wants to know lineups and stuff. And it's tricky. This is one it's hard, man. Well, first and foremost, I would not probably hold it in the States. If I was going to build a festival, I'm not holding it in the States. Let's be real. I'm going to Europe or something, because fans just in Europe are better. Let's just be fucking real about that. All bands say that. So let's just be real about it. Or I'd hold it in Canada, and I'd have Canadian bands only, which I'm not even going to try and think of that list right now. But for me, as far as lineups, I mean, you guys know me, man. I'd love to see all my favorites have Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains are headlining probably. Backed up by bands like Godsmack, 3 Days Grace, either Stained, reuniting Stained. There's so many bands, so many. I can't think off the top of my head right now. But as far as, having bands, as far as like headliners, definitely Alice in Chains would be a headliner for me. And if it was a 2-day fest, I'd probably have a band like maybe like a Metallica or something, probably on like the second day. Because, I mean, their drawing power is obviously a little bit more than Alice in Chains. Let's be real about it. It'd be fun, man. It'd be fun. I should have screened this question a little better. Because now I'm like, oh shit. But one thing that I would like to say is that one thing that I would love to do one day, and I've talked about this before here on the show, and I'm glad Woody asked this because it brought this out, and I'm going to say this again here on the show. One day, I would like to do Hodfest. What Hodfest is a live music and live podcast thing. Just a 1-day event, couple hours spread out. Nothing crazy, small event. But I would have a lot of the Hodder Show alumni come perform at it. Just off the top of my head, you got bands like Outshined, obviously would have to be involved in it. I'd try and convince Out of My League to make a comeback, just saying. Obviously, I'd have a huge wide spectrum. I'd want punk and probably punk and metal mostly, just because that would work the best. I need to have Dragged there. Gotta have Corporate Life there. Rolls Royce. Her Majesty the King. Man, who else would I want there? I'd want a reuniting Devoked, by the way, throwing that out there. And there's tons. Basically, any band that's ever been on my podcast. Let's just leave it at that. Harmonic Dissection has to make an appearance. Shit. Basically, if you've been on my podcast, I want you there. Let's just be real. If you've been on my podcast, I want you there. Nothing Serious, obviously. Big one for me, too. And then I do like live podcasts, too. Like, maybe like halfway through it, I do like a live podcast. It'd be a lot of fun. And I forgot to mention that earlier, too, by the way. Adam asked me the question about would I want to perform music live in front of a crowd. I do want to do a live podcast one day. That's something I want to do. That's a goal of mine. That's something that I want to. I wanted to look at doing this year, to be honest. But with COVID and everything, obviously that threw a bit of a wrench in the fucking plan in there with that. So I had to kind of let that go for now. But that's something I want to do for sure, 100%, and it will happen. To what end? I have no idea. All I know is I want to do this with a live crowd. I don't want it to be a huge crowd, but I want it to be a good amount of people. I don't want it to be like a walk-in thing. I want it to be like a private event. I want to make sure I got some good people there. I want to maybe make sure I have a few guests lined up. And I want to do it. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. If you're hearing this and you think that's a cool idea, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys on that. Sorry, Woody, that I don't have a better answer for your question. That I could go for an hour on that. That's a huge thinker. But I would definitely have it not in the States, though. Or even probably Canada. Honestly, I'd have it somewhere in Europe. I don't know where specifically, but just the festivals in Europe always just do a little bit better from my understanding. So that's the main reason why. But hopefully that answers that question. And we come to the final question I have here today, which is a fantastic question. Just great. From Mr. Joe Loving. He would like to know, did you finally lose your virginity? And, the truthful answer to that, Joe, is no. Because I am, you guys may not know this about me, but I'm actually a very devout Christian. And I'm not going to have sex before I'm married. And I've actually decided that I'm never going to have sex ever. Because it's not what Satan wants. Well, that's what Satan wants. Excuse me. What am I saying? So, my penis is off limits. You hear me? Okay? So, I am a good little virgin boy, and that will never change. So, holy shit. Yeah, that's where we're at here on the Hodder Show. Talking about me being a virgin forever. Anyway, so hopefully that answers your question, Joe. You dick. We have fun. The Mean Beard family has fun with each other. It's obviously a joke. I'm not actually a nearly 30-year-old virgin. But if I was, I'd tell you guys. Like, let's be real. I'd tell you guys. But anyway, that's going to do it for me here today with this Ask Hodder Anything. I hope that you guys got a kick out of it, at least had a few laughs at how just kind of out of it I am. And, my voice is like getting kind of horsey and sexy, I guess. Maybe perhaps it's going a little low here and going a little raspy. Yeah, a little raspy happening here. I'm going to listen back to this tomorrow and be like, holy fuck, what was I doing? I've dropped more F-bombs, I think, on this episode than a while. But these are fun. I needed this episode. I needed to just have a not so serious episode of the Hodder Show here. So I hope you guys at least got a kick out of it. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And be sure to tune in next week as we have got a really, really cool EP showcase coming at you. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be a showcase where I'm going to be joined by someone from the band to do it. I'm not going to say anything else right now. It's not a surprise, but you guys will hear about it once we have that episode in the can. Let's just say it's one that I've been really excited for a while. And it is a reoccurring guest I've had on the show before. Of course, before we go, I want to give a shout out again to the sponsors of the Hodder Show, J Beard's Digital Arts, as well as Mean Beard. Thank you guys very much for the support. And of course, I want to give a humongous shout out to my Patreon supporters, my Hodheads, my boy Will from Rolls Royce, who you heard a question from earlier. And then, of course, my boy Scott from Suds Window Cleaning. You need some windows cleaned, you hit up my boy Scotty. He'll hook you up if you need some fantastic punk rock. Hit up my boys at Rolls Royce. Go check them out. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I love you. I will be back next week, kind of in a little bit more of a return to form here on the Hodder Show. And if you have a question for me that I didn't answer already here on the show, let me know. Hit me up and I will bank them. Maybe I'll do another Ask Hodder Anything sometime in the future. I always love doing these episodes. They're a fun kind of goofy, cathartic release for me, I guess. Me saying cathartic counts up to a 3. So I'm going to sign off here today. I'm going to go to bed. Morty's passed out beside me. And he just turned and looked at me. I was like, bro, you shut up. I'm trying to sleep. So I'm going to sign off here tonight. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I'll catch you next time on The Hodder Show. Take it easy, guys.